I've got the new NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palettes to share with you guys today, and originally I was going to put up a video right away with swatches and like a first impressions and stuff, but I decided that there's so many different colors that I wanted to use them a bit more so I could give you guys my best overall opinion on them. So I've been using them for the past 3 days, and then I also used them today, which is the look that's on my eyes, and there will be a demo for that towards the end of the video if you're interested in it. I purchased these off the Ulta website, and when I bought them they were buy one get one half off. The retail price on them each is $18.99, which is kind of getting up there in price in terms of like drugstore type of makeup. And the thing that prompted me to get these, first of all, I hadn't seen them until I went on a blog, and I want to say it was Nouveau Cheap's blog, and on there the title had said like Viseart eyeshadow dupe with like a question mark, like are these Viseart eyeshadow dupes? So of course I was like, well, new new eyeshadow palettes, and then on top of it, are they comparable to Viseart? So talking a little bit about the formula before I go ahead and zoom up close and give you guys swatches and stuff like that, I was really impressed with the matte eyeshadows in all 4 of these palettes. The one I'm holding up is the Brights palette, and this is the one that I initially like tore into and wanted to swatch right away. And just based off swatching, I wasn't thinking that they were going to perform as well as they do, or have like as much pigmentation or vibrancy on the eyes as they do. So I feel like they perform better on the eyes than they swatch. So I just have to throw it out there. The mattes in here really surprised me. They blended really well. I've used shades from this palette on the, which I have on the lid, like these blues right here. And then I've used mattes from the other ones from the crease upwards. The blend is beautiful. And when I had used this palette here, I used this bright purple, I thought for sure by the end of the day it would have dulled down a bit, but it was still a nice vibrant type of a purple. I feel like the shimmery shades in the palettes aren't quite as nice as the mattes. They're pressed a little bit harder, and you kind of have to dig your brush in there. Not that they're not usable. I have gotten some really pretty lid shades out of the ones that I picked out. I just feel like the mattes kind of outperform the shimmer shades out of all 4 of the palettes. Now, do I think that these are Viseart dupes? Not exactly, but I do think that they're very good, affordable options from the drugstore in terms of matte eyeshadows. I was really impressed with the formula. Each time I use them from the crease up every day that I use them. They blend really nice. I feel like the fade on this one right here was super easy, and it looks really nice. One thing to make note of, however, is the pans in each palette are only 0.02 ounces a piece, which is on the smaller spectrum as far as eyeshadow sizes are concerned. So you're not getting a massive amount of eyeshadow in each one. There's a lot of colors, however. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Brights palette 04. On the back, the label here does peel off, and I peeled off all of them on all 4 of the palettes, and this is the only one that has like little stars on 3 of the shades. So 2, 3, and 6 they're saying are pressed pigments. I don't know if you can see there, but this is another one of those dimethicone type formula eyeshadows, and I feel like it's a newer formula than any of the other NYX eyeshadows that I've used in the past, which I have used a lot, and thus far this has been my favorite formula, especially in terms of the matte eyeshadows. The shimmer shades are pressed a little bit hard, but anyway, let's get into some of these swatches here. So here's the Brights. This palette doesn't have like a ton of real shimmer shades. It's almost like quite a few sparkles suspended in kind of a matte or satin formula. And the ones that are like that are this red, this blue, this teal type of color, and then the green has got some little sparkles in it as well. Everything else appears to be pretty matte, but I think that using those ones with the sparkles isn't going to really show up like as a shimmer eyeshadow. So I'm going to do these by 3s here. This almost appears to have a duochrome to it, but when I packed this light purple on the lid the other day, it was so pretty. And then this blue one, which I used today, very vibrant. And I also use this color right here. It's so pretty. And then these bottom ones, which I can't wait to kind of dig into those greens. And again, I would almost call this palette entirely matte, even though some of those shades have like sparkles in them. And then this very last shade. Right there. Here's a little bit of a side-by-side of the, I guess, duped Viseart palette, which this is the Viseart, and then here is the Brights from NYX. So you can see there are some similar tones in there. Let's go like this. This green and this green appear to be similar. So let's see. So there's the Viseart green. You can see that they pack a little bit more of a punch. Oh. In comparison. In terms of color selection, I don't feel like any of these next three palettes go hand in hand quite as much as the two bright palettes from Viseart and NYX do. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch these out. For mattes, in this particular one, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6 mattes. Now this is my least favorite in terms of color combination. It's the USP01 Smokey and Highlight. Just because when I went to grab this to kind of use it as a standalone, I was kind of like looking for a little bit of a warmer type of transition shade, or transition shade in general. And granted, it's called Smokey and Highlight, so it's probably meant not to have like some mid-tone shades. Just something to make note of. So let's swatch these guys. Next ones. This color is really pretty. Actually, out of this entire palette, I think this is the only one that I've used out of this palette so far. Color, which is really pretty. And this one's pretty too. Get a little more of this guy. And then the bottom row. Oh. So that one is the Smokey and Highlight 01 palette. This next one is the Cool Neutrals palette. And this is the one I think I probably use this one the most in here. You have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 shades in here that are matte, which is a good amount. There's a good amount of transition shades, some deep shades, highlight shades. I found myself using this one in conjunction with that Brights palette and coming up with some pretty looks like the one that I have on today. This is the palette I use today in conjunction with the Brights, which is on the lid. So really like that. I give some swatches. I feel like all these light shades are hard to see on, well, you can see them there, I guess. A little bit harder to see on my skin tone. This one, this one, this one. I think I skipped this shade, so I'll start here and then go to this one, right? This guy right here is a duochrome. It's almost like Club eyeshadow from MAC. And then the last row. So that is the Cool Neutrals palette. This last palette I think may be everybody's favorite. This is the 03 Warm Neutrals palette. And for mattes in here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mattes, which is a good amount. You've got good highlights, good transition shades, and you've also got good deep colors in here. I wore this yesterday and I really did like it. Performed really well. Lighter ones. This is the color I packed on the lid yesterday, and I did have to kind of dig my brush in there to get the pigment, but it was really pretty on the lid. These ones, which are so pretty. And then the last row. These are really good. I'm more impressed with the matte eyeshadows than I am the shimmer shades, just because I feel like the shimmers are packed a little bit stiffer, but I feel like once you kind of get your brush in there, they pick up a little bit better after a couple uses. I think in total with taxes and the discount, I think I paid $53 for all 4 of these palettes, and that's a total of 64 eyeshadows, and the majority of the shadows in 3 of the palettes are matte. The palette that isn't my favorite, I definitely need to use them more, is the Smokey and Highlight one. I think that using it in conjunction with some of these other ones though is going to provide some really nice looks. I think that pairing this bright palette with both of the Cool Neutrals and the Warm Neutrals, which is what I have been doing when I've been using these, really yields some pretty looks. Like, I'm really happy with the way the look came out today, and they're not like, I thought that the bright blues might transfer up into that purple, and so far they haven't. I've had this eyeshadow on for probably 3 hours so far, which isn't a ton of time, but when I wore the pastel purple the other day, it hadn't transferred up through my, like, little fold either. So that's pretty good. These mattes kicked up a little bit more product in the pan, but it wasn't bad. I hardly had any fallout on my face as well. Each time I used them, the fallout was very minimal. They built, they blended. I was really impressed with them. Now, if you're interested in seeing these eyeshadows perform the look that's on my eyes right now, you can hang tight and we'll get into it right now. I went ahead and primed my lids from the lash line to underneath the brow with the NYX Eyeshadow Base in 01. Then using a Goss 18 brush, I'm going to go into this Brights palette and pick up this color right here, which is a matte teal shade. And pack this guy on the center of the lid pretty heavily. Then using that same brush, I'm going to go into this blue from that same palette. I'm going to pack this over here. And then flip my brush over and blend the center. Then for the rest of this look, I'm going to use the Cool Neutrals palette, which looks like that. I'm going to use a Chikuhodo GSN 9, and I'm going to dip into this shade right here, which is like a matte burgundy. And I'm going to put that one through the crease. Using that same Goss 18, I'm going to dip into this shade, same palette. It's like a shimmery pink color. I'm going to put this right here and blend it into that turquoise. Then using a Chikuhodo J5523 brush, I'm going to go into this shade, which is kind of a mid-tone dusty purple, And I'm going to, and it's also matte, I'm going to start blending this out. And then lastly, I'm going to use a Chikuhodo Gissen 7, and I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is a matte with a slightly pink undertone. And I'm going to use this one underneath the brow. Blend it through here, and a little bit right there. So there's the eyeshadow done. I'm really digging how it came out. I'm going to go ahead and finish up my eye makeup, and I'll be right back to put on some lips for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and line my lips with the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in the shade Pillow Talk. Fill them in, I'm going to use the Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lipstick in the shade Souffle, and I'm really going to fade this into the lip liner because this is a pretty light pink shade. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the Amuse Bouche lipstick in the shade Spritzer to that because I'm feeling a little like that's a little washout, that color by itself. So there's the overall finished look using a couple of the new NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palettes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!